we will be going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. It is currently 8 a.m. like normal. It is 66 degrees outside with a high of 82, 83 degrees, so it's going to be warm, probably muggy like it's been. We do have some slight chance of rain and thunderstorms today, so scattered showers, so maybe have an umbrella or a light jacket with you or handy. Now, with that being said, the traffic conditions are virtually non-existent going into Tulsa right now, so if you're commuting in, you're not really going to have any issue there. The upcoming events in Owasso, nothing's really changed. Everything's still floating the same way on the calendar. Only one real Chamber of Commerce event, and then a couple of events that Owassoisms had posted, so no real issues for your busy calendar schedule coming up. So we'll push right on into national news. So we talked yesterday about how Trump went to the National Libertarian Party to give a speech, and he was met with some applause and some boos, but again, he's not a libertarian, so you can't expect, you can't expect him to get nothing but love and nothing but appreciation from the libertarians, okay? So again, Trump going there is pretty impressive. It's pretty cool that he went there and did that. It's pretty interesting that he went into the lion's den and gave that speech. I think one thing that a criticism, he kind of stayed on a teleprompter. He should have went off script and kind of just worked the crowd, because that's where Trump's at his best, is when he's working the crowd. But sometimes when you have a crowd of people, especially antagonistic ones, there's really no way to work them. Like, if they are openly hostile towards you, there's no chance of you winning them over. So if maybe it was a better thing for him to just, instead of working them, just stay on script, because he needed to get out the points that needed to be made in his opinion. So it's a delicate path you have to walk when you're in the lion's den. So even if you're right and you're arguing the points, like I've seen Larry Elder go to Larry Elder, who is he was the black conservative that was running for governor against Gavin Newsom in California. And he's gone in the lion den multiple times with radical Black Panther style groups, where he'll go in and it's a debate that's closed off to the public. Only the black folks are allowed in. Only black folks are allowed to record it. And then they sell it to the debate to individual parties. So Larry Elder went into those, and when I watch the clips from these debates that he has with them, they're amazing, because I'm like, well, Larry Elder's right. But everybody in the crowd is booing, and they're clapping for the ignorant person that's debating him, that's, just basically indoctrinated by anti-white hatred and rhetoric. So again, just because the crowd is booing doesn't make them right. Just because the crowd is clapping doesn't make them right. It just means you're saying what they want to hear. So the fact that Larry Elder goes into these primarily black spaces as a black man, but gets booed because he has what they perceive as white politics, he's going to get booed no matter what, because they hate his point of view. But he still walks into the lion's den unfazed, unscared. That's what Trump did at this Libertarian Party. So it just seems he did well. He did get some claps. He did get some boos. But again, as I said yesterday, the Libertarians don't even like their own candidates that they vote into power. They hate each other. They hate themselves. So with that being said, almost to seemingly spite Donald Trump, or spite what is perceived as, I guess, the Libertarians' kind of borderline too much love for the right, I guess. And like I said, they don't have love for the right, but they're kind of perceived as a more right-leaning party. They elected basically a communist to be their elected party official.
Yes.
He's their candidate.
Yep.
So
and he is a open borders, pro-vaccine mandate guy. So how he even got in there in the first place is beyond me. But yeah, he's pro LGBTQ, which makes sense for the libertarians because they're live and let live.
Yeah, they don't care as long as you don't bother people. What doesn't make sense is the fact that they want to this guy, they're okay with this guy mandating vaccines. The loophole that they're kind of getting him with is he's okay with businesses mandating the vaccine for their employees. But obviously there's kind of a contradiction there. It's like, how can you be for freedom but also be for the vaccine company mandating vaccines for people?
Yeah, the trade-off is instead of the only trade-off that you could see pro is instead of government mandating it, it's
corporate
a business.
Yeah.
And you can always choose to quit a business that forces you to do something, I suppose.
Yeah.
But still, it's just obfuscating one, dictator for another.
Yeah. But they don't view business or enterprise as dictatorships. They just view it as monies and markets.
Yeah.
So to some degree, I can understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's just like, look, if you're a true libertarian, but like I said, they say vote with your conscience. So effectively, if you worked for a corporation that was like, you have to take the vaccine, and then all of their employees quit, well, then they would either have to change their policy or they would have to find less qualified people who are willing to get the vaccine. Either way, I'm for the individual. I'm not for the... And again, this is what happens when corporations get too big. If you had a small business enterprise and it's a local dude who lives in the same town as all the same people, and they're just like, hey, we don't want to get the vaccine, but the business owner's pro-vaccines, I'm like, well, shoot, I really like my employees. I don't want to do that. But the problem is when the corporations get too big, they just do blanket policy things, best for most, not best for some. And then you're going to get these people that are going to slip through the cracks that are like, well, I can't, kind of like that Mumford and Son guy, like, I have a medical reason I can't take the vaccine. Well, you're out. We don't care. So there's always going to be these gray areas. And again, the libertarians are so nitpicky on policy that I guarantee you there are libertarian-minded people more like me and Chad are like going, no, companies shouldn't mandate that at all. But again, it's the corporation's choice. But as I say, it's Jordan Peterson said this a while back. When things get too big, bad things happen. And corporations are no exception to this. Like whenever the leadership turns into somebody else and they start growing and they grow at an exponential rate, there's going to be oversight. There's going to be undersight.
The one example I can give you to this is like even corporations following suit to this was Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
He was quoted saying, and you can go, I need to go find this video, but he was quoted saying this, when the person that starts the business disappears, innovation goes away. Which, as you can see, he goes, all you're going to see, that's what he talked about. He goes, that's why I made the iPhone, because all cell phones are doing at that point were longer battery, more data, basically. And then he made the first touchscreen, and that's basically all iPhone is. What's the next thing? We've added a camera, another camera, and your battery life will last longer.
Or we added a new color. And he goes, that's all it is. It's the same with these. It's the same with cars. It's the same with anything in this industry. We've created a phone, and now the only innovative thing about the phone is we added a new color next year. We added a new color. It's a little bigger this year. It's approximately 1.5 centimeters bigger this year.
Yep.
What's the difference between the 2022 Chevy Silverado and the 2023 Chevy Silverado? The number on the year. Oh. That's about it. Like I said, these iPhones, there's nothing new about them. There's nothing new under the sun. They're trying to do stuff with, the phones where you can answer stuff on your wristwatch.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a little bit of innovation, but not a lot. We're waiting on the next thing to come. Like, Dinesh D'Souza said this, nobody's asking for an iPhone until Steve Jobs created the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. There's a lot going on, and the libertarians just, I don't know. We kind of got off subject. Let's watch this video of this libertarian candidate, this guy grilling him on trans folks.
All right. Make sure I've got the sound up. I do. We're good to go.
Why do you think that the drag queens? Why do you think that the drag queens want to read to children?
Because I think that they are performance artists and they want to be able to have different levels of performance art. It's the same reason as why do the Wiggles sing to children? Because they want to have a marketplace to kids.
Chase,
They want to be able to. They want to be
the
able
Wiggles.
to.
The Wiggles is made for children. It's obviously family friendly material. Drag queens are not what you call family friendly kind of entertainment.
Okay, but a man in a dress is what drag is, right? Let's just be real. A man in a dress or a woman in a suit is what drag is.
Mhm.
That is not inherently sexual. There is inherently sexual drag. And you're not going to convince me. I mean, I'm not going to defend otherwise. There absolutely is. But there's also the ability to perform as a man in a wig without being sexual. And that is what this is. And I guarantee you, if you act like I said, I went for myself because I was like, why are there people protesting this thing? I want to see what this drag queen story time is myself, and I want to see what it is. And nothing sexual was going on. And I think that is the truth for 99% of this. And I think
would you take your kids to a drag queen story hour? Or would you drop them off at a drag queen story hour and
I don't think that's what happens. Most of the time, the parents are right there with the kids. But
I'm asking you, would you drop your kids off at a drag queen story hour and come back an hour later?
I mean, would you drop your kids off at a movie? Yeah.
Why do you think that the drag queens? Why do you think that the?
That's it. It's just repeat.
Yeah. Would you drop your kids off at a movie? Look, I know I've told this little isolated story before, but I agree with what this guy said. Why do these drag queens want to interact with children? What purpose does it serve for them?
Recruitment.
So, fundamentally I agree with that. But no, again, it's like what I told you. I had a friend, and his name was Brett, and we were fraternity brothers. And after college, he got a job working in the Guthrie Green, not the Guthrie Green. Is that what they call it? The Guthrie Green area? That area over there in downtown Tulsa?
Yes. Where they hold like little concerts and
yes.
stuff. Yes.
So he was working down there, and he worked with an association with the public library, and his job was this was back again in 2014, 2015 time, okay? This is really before the trans stuff just took off. So his job was to find drag queens for their drag queen story hours in the Tulsa Public Library. And he disqualified basically 90% of the candidates because they all had, drug markings all along their wrists. Like they were shooting up heroin and doing all kinds of crazy drugs. And he could see. And when he would meet with them for their interviews, I mean, they were just out of it. Mm-hmm. They were high on something. He didn't know what, but they were high on something. And he could see there. He goes, and I can't have you having marks on your wrists and arms that show. So there is a slight bit of gatekeeping, but the fact that they're even allowing something like this to happen anyway is just ridiculous. So from a libertarian perspective, again, this is the lack of morality that we were talking about, those the 6 moral foundations. They only care about liberty. They should just let them do whatever they want. But then again, why is the public library wasting taxpayer funds on hiring drag queen performers to even read to your kids? What purpose does that serve? Oh, we're raising awareness for drag queens. Why?
It's not like these are book, authors, trying to sell their next big book or something. I mean, that would make more sense. Or a local, child, artist or author, whatever. No, this is a drag queen that has nothing to do with children.
Yeah. I mean, what happened to the days of hiring a local clown to make balloon animals and read a story or something to kids? Like,
I mean, we've seen some of these drag queens.
They're doing. I guess it's the same thing. This is just the modern version of a clown. Drag queens are the modern version of clowns. Like, is that what we're going for now? Like this? Come on, kids, come see the clown. I guess that would make me feel better. But golly, it's nuts. And again, this guy, open borders guy, but then again, all libertarians are pseudo open borders. But like I said, but if you're truly a libertarian, you don't want open borders if you have a welfare state or any type of welfare programs, because those people can come here and take out of that program without ever having given into it. So again, it's we've had this conversation too on this show. I'll tell you what, we will trade you free health care for all, but we have to have a closed borders policy. Mm-hmm. The left won't do it. Like, no, we want open borders and free health care. It's like, no, you can't have both. Either we have open borders and zero welfare and zero government handouts, or we have all that stuff. You can have welfare and free government handouts, but closed borders.
Well, that's what we talked about before, with it being a more godless society now. The left doesn't really behold to religion as much as the right does, so they have to create. There is no heaven. There's no afterlife to go to. There is no heaven after earth, so you have to create heaven on earth. And all people do who try to create heaven on earth is end up creating a hell on earth.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You take from the productive members of society, you give to the non-producing members of society. And again, money doesn't solve problems. If money solved problems, then it would be a simple solution. And then we would have a perfect education system. The welfare system would be gone by now if money solved problems. Money doesn't solve problems. You can. It's the same reason why people who win the lottery end up being broke like 2 or 3 years later. Yeah. They don't know how to manage their finances. Handing out money is not the solution. We have to create, I guess, a functioning economy, and we have to create a mentality of people that feel useless if they don't work. Like, you might not love your job, but you should be excited to go to work and earn. Like, if you sit at home all day and just watch TV, like, I'm at the point in my life where, like, if I don't do something pseudo-productive on my weekends, like, I used to be able to just be like, I'll just game all weekend. I can't do that anymore. I don't have that dog in me anymore. I'm like, I got to go out and mow the lawn or something on the weekend to feel pseudo like I'm not a worthless piece of crap. So you have to cultivate that mentality in our society. You can't have these people, like, who just sit down all day watching TV or soap operas and being like, well, I guess I'll take a shower and get ready for the day tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I had this conversation a while back with somebody, and they were talking about how, their mom, because they grew up poor, could use government money better than it. It was a terrible like comparison. I go, my mom could do more with $10,000 than Elon Musk could. I looked at him and I said, your mom could use $10,000, no doubt. But I go, if I handed your mom $10,000, she's going to go spend money for either herself or her children. She's not going to go do something like Elon Musk. If I hand Elon Musk $10,000, he's going to come back with
$10 million.
So who put that $10,000 to more use to society, your mom or Elon Musk? And he just kind of sat there and stared at me.
Yeah.
And he didn't really have an answer to that. And I was just like,
yeah, that $10,000 would temporarily alleviate your mom's issues. And yes, does she need the $10,000 more than Elon Musk does?
Yes.
Yes. But who can make that $10,000 go further? Who can make that 10,000 turn into 10 million, 10 billion?
That's what I pointed out to him. I go, whose $10,000 benefited society more? Your mom's $10,000 or Elon Musk's $10,000? And he didn't have an answer to that.
Of course not. They never do. So, again, it's about managing finances or being able, in fact, I would say it's not even about managing finances. It's about whether or not you can create wealth or you can create value. Value is the primary thing. Like, all life is a trading of resources or time. If you can convince somebody to give you something cool with you giving them something in return, for the mass majority of us, we exchange our time and work for a cool thing, which would be money. But for other people, I mean, I remember somebody was talking about how this guy started off with a sack of marbles, and he just kept trading and trading and trading until he traded it and got a house. Now, we're not talking like a big fancy house, but like he just kept trading and convinced people of the value of the something he had.
Yes. That is a true thing. That did happen. Yeah. he eventually traded. Now, you're right. It was a very ugly house, but he eventually got a house.
Yeah.
Out of starting from a marble and trading whatever he could, just going to people and asking. You know, a lot of people said no. That's the thing that people forget is like he didn't just go I'll give you this marble, and someone's like, oh, here's a house. It's like, no, that's not how it worked. He literally went to house to house. Goes, I'll trade you this marble for a pin.
Yeah.
And he gets a pin from somebody, and then he takes a pin and he trades it for, I don't know, marker, or, you know, I don't know, whatever.
It just kept getting bigger and bigger. The trade, he kept making the value get bigger, and he started with nothing. And again, that goes to show you that you can start from nothing and create or end up with something amazing.
Yeah, you have to just convince people of the thing that you have's value.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, interesting stuff. But yeah, the Libertarians, again, I don't know why they elected this guy. Going back to square one, I think they did it to spite Trump's presence being there, because they go, well, it looks like a right-wing populist is going to win this thing again, so we're angry with him, so let's just elect the polar opposite end of our party. So they elected a open borders, pro-trans, pro-vaccination guy.
Yep, I would say so. It was, and that's the thing. Libertarians are the hipsters of the political world.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you like, we don't like.
Yep. Like I said, they hate themselves, they hate their own party, and they're never going to get anything accomplished. So, way to go, Libertarians.
I go back to Ron Paul. I said Ron Paul realized he could get nothing accomplished as a libertarian.
Yeah.
So he joined
the proto-libertarian Ron Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I guess really Ayn Rand is really the proto-libertarian, but, you know, Ron Paul is probably her most successful protege.
Acolyte, yeah.
Anyway, we'll push on to our next subject matter, because we're running way longer than I thought we would. Pull up that what Joe Biden has done wrong.
You got it. Give me 1 second here. There it is. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let me transition. And we are playing.
Say, oh, there's no evidence. Joe Biden, there's no evidence that he's done anything wrong.
Yeah,
what would you say to that?
What I would say to them is I'd start with the fact that when he left the vice presidency, he was hired by the University of Pennsylvania at a salary of $1 million a year to preside over the Biden Institute for Global Engagement. Never taught a class, never showed up on campus. And then it turned out that program was funded with $54 million of anonymous donations from China.
From China?
So, and he hired among his staff the future Secretary of State Blinken and 9 other people on the payroll of that institute who are now on the national security team. So China funded a farm team, essentially, for the Biden administration, and the President of the United States was on the payroll of China for 4 years and made several $1 million from it. When he left the Senate, his net worth was $29,000, which means he was either honest or dumb. Now, when he entered the presidency, his net worth was over $10 million. And all of that came from bribery.
When people say, oh, there's no evidence. Joe Biden, there's no evidence.
Yep. But yeah, there you go, folks. $1 million a year for the University of Pennsylvania, funded by China. China. Bought and paid for by China. And again, they were talking about Hunter Biden's on the Burisma, and that was the Ukraine scandal. And then he was also on a board of directors at China. They wanted to get access to Joe Biden, and Hunter Biden facilitated. This is all the corruption that's been following him, and stuff that the mainstream media just doesn't care about. They're not going to talk about it because it makes their guy look bad.
Yep. Which makes you wonder, like a lot of this stuff, it makes you wonder if this is why everyone says the deep state, why we should get rid of the FBI and the CIA. Is like, it makes you wonder if the CIA was complicit in this stuff, to get agents inside certain locations and to do certain deals. And they're like, let's just do it through government officials.
Yep. But this stuff right here which is not getting reported on except for by these like independent outlets that nobody picks up or follows unless you're in right-wing media. What is getting, well, I guess, media coverage is Trump's misdemeanor trial in New York, which they turned into a felony despite the fact they didn't explain why it's a felony and not just a misdemeanor. And that case is basically falling apart. But they're still going to report. And again, it's not whether or not the case falls apart. It's about how they report on it. They're not reporting as much about how the case is falling apart. What they want in your mind, or in the average American's mind, the person who doesn't pay attention, they just want to go, oh, yeah, Trump went on trial for corruption, right? And they go, oh, yeah, so can't vote for him. That's what they want. It's not about the truth. It's about the media headlines. And then you have people like Robert DeNiro, who is clueless, absolutely clueless, and is living in a left-wing bubble, getting yelled. Like, so he went to the trial and was talking about how ridiculous this whole Trump getting off on this case is.
Well, and Biden administration talked all about how this Trump being tried was not a partisan effort. This is like, oh, this is just Trump being on trial for crimes he committed. And what does he do? The Biden administration holds a press conference with Robert De Niro as the star speaker outside the courthouse where Donald Trump's being tried. So
yeah, this isn't political. Let's put on this song and dance over here with some famous celebrities while we're trying to make ourselves look good, or at least stay under the radar. Biden's not out here talking about it. He's over there bringing out famous celebrities to do the song and dance for him. Again, the Democrats have always had a monopoly on Hollywood and celebrities. So, and this is what you get. Whenever they bring out here comes the vaudeville, here comes the song and dance, this is a distraction. Mm-hmm. This is a distraction. Yep. They go, oh, Robert De Niro's for Joe Biden, so let's just bring him out and he can talk crap on Trump. Yep. He loves doing that.
She got the crap heckled out of him.
No, he sure did.
There.
Yeah, so go ahead and play it.
Will do. And transition, play.
On January 6th, while Republican lawmakers despicably tried to keep the loser Trump in the White House, and Trump-inspired insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, brave men and women from law enforcement put their lives on the line to defend this country. Our democracy. They are the true heroes. These guys are the true heroes. They stood and put their lives on the line for these lowlives, for Trump.
They lied under oath.
They lied under oath.
Right.
Who lied under oath? What are you telling me?
Those two traitors behind you.
Excuse me?
Those two traitors behind you.
They lied under oath?
That's right.
What are you saying?
They're traitors.
They're traitors. I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to
this is that you talking to me? You talking to me?
Oh my God, he is so out of touch. Yeah, but those guys are actually proven testimony from the video evidence that they were both lying.
Yeah.
That's the big tall black guy is the one that said that someone called him the N-word, and the person that vouched for that wasn't even in the same building when he said that it happened.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So the fact that there's somebody there heckling Robert De Niro, calling out, saying the truthful things to him. But again, this is what the media wants. Like, De Niro lives in the Hollywood bubble where he only consumes left-wing media sources. So this is the first time he's hearing it. And again, Tim Pool talked about this with someone he changed their mind, but he didn't change their mind in one day. He was talking to a friend or someone he considered a friend, and he was like, hey, this is what it is. And then the guy comments and said, watch this video, and goes, you're lying. And he goes, no, I'm not. I'll send you the video. And he sends him the video. And the person he sent the video to, his brain could not process what he was seeing. Now, I'm not saying he was able to watch it the same way you and I watch it, but his worldview was so shattered by what he saw that it physically hurt him. It caused him pain. The way I describe this to friends and family members is, I'm a Christian. Imagine if someone came up to me and was like, here is undeniable proof that God isn't real. That would physically hurt my brain. It would physically hurt my body to have my worldview shattered like that in an instant. So it's the same way with these lefties. He's watching this video. He sees the evidence of what was actually said, and I believe what was actually said was the Trump, whether or not Trump called for violence on the January 6th riots.
Yes.
He's watching the video of the full explanation. He goes, "That's not true. This isn't real. This is doctored. This is fake." He literally said it was doctored and faked because his mind could not handle the pain that the truth caused him. Think about that. If your
I think
world
it was actually a guy that said that they should be dimmed completely.
Oh yeah.
I think I could be wrong.
I know.
There's so many like media narratives about Trump. It's hard to
know
down
which one is the truth.
Exactly.
So, but anyway, the point is, it physically hurt, and it took him like 2 months to finally accept what he saw. And finally, he came back and he goes, "You were right. I started doing my own research, stopped listening to the mainstream media narrative, and I was like, yeah, you are correct. I am wrong." That's a humbling thing, too. A lot of people can't do that. There will be a lot of people, like, this is what atheists think of all Christians. Like, they're just blindly believing in God, and, they can't think any other way. It's the same way with anyone who has a certain belief system. If you destroy it and fracture it so much, it will take them a good while to decompress or adjust to that knowledge.
Well, you say that though, but even Christopher Dawkins came around and was like, "I'm glad I grew up in a Christian nation."
Yeah. He wants the culture. He wants cultural Christianity, not actual practicing Christianity. But you can't have cultural Christianity without actual Christianity. It doesn't work. People can't just go through the motions, It's like if you want a godless society, you're going to get a godless society. If you want it makes a good society, a God-fearing society, you have to have that God. You have to have Christianity in it. Mm-hmm. So we actually ran a lot longer than I thought we would today. I thought this was going to be a short one, but
there's a lot to talk when it comes to libertarians.
There's a lot of crap to talk on libertarians, that's for sure. But that's actually, you know what? Let's do one more video. We'll wrap it up on a high note. Let's pull up that final, that last Joe Biden clip. It's a real short one.
Okay, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Gotta pull it back up.
Yeah, so this is the Google Biden questions. So the top most Googled Biden questions. Which of course, this is all fake and manufactured too.
And play.
Have a brother. I'm lucky I have 2 younger brothers. I'm the oldest of 3, and I've got a sister who's the love of my life.
The Fox News Decision Desk can now project that former Vice President Joe Biden will win the state of Alabama.
Does Joe Biden have a brother? I'm lucky I have 2 younger brothers. I'm the oldest of 3, and I've got a sister who's the love of my life.
The Fox News Decision Desk can now project that former Vice President Joe Biden will win the state of Alabama.
Does Joe Biden
Alabama for that one right there?
Sweet home Alabama. But yeah, again, this is our president. Doesn't know his wife from his sister. So yeah, this is who's running the country right now. This is why we're kind of the laughing stock of the free world. But yeah, that's about all we've got for you today. We figured we'd end on a funnier high note because I didn't want to just leave you hanging on just pure news. So that's all we've got for you today. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. We are signing off. God bless y'all.
See you later, everybody.